Hey there, I'm Lance and I'm a gamer.
And I'm Sam and I'm a non-gamer.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to help gamers find great games to play with non-gamers.
And today we're taking a look at Favor Gods of Oethera by Lynch and Wood Games.
Favor Gods of Oethera is a tile-laying exploration game in which you are going to be trying to appease the gods of Oethera by sacrificing your relics, hoping to be the first player to get 10 points in this game. As I mentioned, it's tile laying, something that both Sam and I really enjoy. And with this one, you are going to be exploring 4 different regions, trying to find different places for you to delve into caves and whatnot to try and secure relics for yourself. And these relics are going to give you special advantages, but at the same time, you're going to make the choice to sacrifice them so that you get the most important thing, which are points. Let's check out how it works down below, and then we'll come back and share thoughts on it as a gamer and non-gamer. All right, here's Favor Gods of Oethera on the table. Let me show you guys how to play this tile-laying exploration game. For the components here, and I do want to make sure to let you know everything you see is prototype. The final artwork, components, and rules may change once it's released from crowdfunding. That being said, what you have here with this game, you have a central board where all players are going to start, and you do have these acrylic standee pieces here for your player characters. And on the center of the center tile here, this is the altar, by the way. You have a deck of cards. There's going to be tiles that extend in the 4 different directions, and each region has its own set of tiles for that. You've got the forest here, you've got the marshland, the wasteland over here, and up at the top, which I know you might not be able to see, are the mountains. There are some extra cards in the game, some action cards, some super important relic cards, and event cards. And you do have a die in this game, and there are also little bits and tokens that I don't have on frame here, as well as player boards here. And so you've got several different characters that you can play as in this game. Each are going to have their own different stats and their own special ability that they can play as. I'm going to show you Ceridian here. And so at the beginning of the game, all players are going to have a little marker here that starts on the 0. Now, the whole objective of this game is to get to 10 points first. This is a race to 10 points. There is one other way to win the game, and I'll share that with you here in just a minute. But as I mentioned, each character has their own stats and their own special ability, and you can do that ability once per round, and you would, you can do that once and then refresh this by going to the altar and doing a special action, but you can only really do this once per round. So you keep track of whether you've done the special ability by flipping over your token here. You do also have an energy token that is going to keep track of how much energy you have on your turn on this side of your board. So that's the components for this game. What you will be doing on your turn, every round is going to start by drawing a god card. That's what these cards are right here in the middle. You would flip it over and read what is on the card and do whatever it says. So for this particular one, you get +1 energy this turn. I'm feeling generous today. The gods have given you an extra energy, and you would just keep track of that here on your player board. You would always start with 4, but in this case, we would get an extra one, so we would have 5 energy. Some other examples of some god cards: +1 delve this turn. We'll explain what that means in just a minute. Replenish all wasteland ruins. We'll explain what that means here in just a minute. Anyhow, you always start by flipping over a god card, and then you can take your actions this turn, spending energy to do each action. So what are the actions you can do? Well, the first thing that you might probably do is move. If you'll see, there are some paths on these tiles here, and of course on these tiles right here, they're much more prominent. You can see them easily. If you move into a spot where there is no tile, you are exploring, and so you would take the top tile of the region that you're exploring in. So this is the forest region here. We'll take the top tile of the forest if we were moving there, and most of these tiles are going to be blank, and you can arrange these in whatever manner you want, so long as the pathway that you just came from is one of the ones that are being connected. So we might do something like that, and we would then probably want to move again. And so we move here and we reveal this particular tile. Now this tile and this icon, that's going to be for the events. And so anytime you move into an event tile, you will draw an event card. And you will just do whatever is on the card. And most of these are going to present you with some sort of event, of course, and a particular challenge for you to try to complete. Now, most of what you'll be doing in this game is going to require you to roll a die and compare the result to one of your stats here. Your hearts are going to tell you how much life you have in this game, and you do have these little heart tokens that are double-sided. On the backside are broken hearts, and that's going to help you keep track of how much health you have in this game. So everybody has a different number of hearts. Charm, Fight, and Delve are going to be comparisons that you will roll this die. And this is not a standard D6 die. It's got 2 zeros and then 1, 2, 3, and 4 on it. And so on this particular charm event, it says charm challenge. So we'll look at charm here, and our charm is a 2. And so what that means is that I roll this die and I need to get a number that is lower than 2. If I get 2 or higher, I fail the challenge. I want to roll lower in this particular game. And you can see what the outcomes here are for success and failure, or I can always choose to discard the event and not partake in it. So that is how events work. Let me show you another tile here. This is going to be a terrain tile. And it's going to present you with some special circumstance for whenever you move through this particular tile. And each of these terrain tiles are going to be different. But then this tile right here is going to be vitally important. Anytime you see this icon on a tile, this is a ruin. And ruins are going to come with their own little token with a check mark on one side and an X on another side. The check mark indicates that this ruin has not been delved into just yet, and there are going to be relics available for you if you decide to delve into it. So whenever you move onto a ruin that has the check mark token on it, you can make a delve challenge. And so delving into a ruin is automatically going to get you 1 relic, but if you succeed in the delve challenge, again, rolling lower than the number that is presented here, you have to roll lower, you can't roll equal to or higher, then if you are successful, you get a 2nd relic. And if you fail, you don't, nothing happens. You just get the 1 relic that you got. And then afterwards, regardless of whether you were successful or not, this icon or this token is going to flip over to the X, and you cannot delve back into this ruin until something causes it to replenish, such as this card right here that says replenish all wasteland ruins, which that would only be the ruins that are over here in the wasteland. So what are relics? Well, relics are extremely important in this game. Dare I say the most important thing in this game, because you are going to want to try and pick relics up throughout the course of the game. Now, most of them are going to be good things, and they will give you +1 to some sort of stat on your board, which that's important because, again, you want to roll lower than these numbers. So the Cleansing Gourd here gives you +1 to your charm, but it also makes you immune to poison. Here's another example. Grappling Hook. This is a blessing. Daily, so this means every round you can make 1 basic movement. This movement is not affected by status conditions or curses, because there are status conditions in this game that might eat up your energy to make extra moves or something of the sorts. There are going to be other items that help you with your fighting ability, which I'll come back to here in just a second. This one says your first attack action card each turn costs 0 energy. There are also curses in the relic deck, so not everything is good here. This would lower your charm to 0, essentially making it so that all your charm rolls are going to fail, so long as you have the Discordant Flute. Anyhow, you are going to be wanting to pick up relics, regardless of whether they're good or not, because ultimately what you do with these relics, obviously some of them are going to beef up your stats, but you will eventually want to get some and then come back to the altar, because another action that you can do on your turn is you can offer your relics to the gods. And you can sacrifice as many of your relics that you have, exchanging each one for a point. This is how you get points in the game. And again, it is the first to 10 points is going to win the game. So the whole idea, or one of the biggest ideas, is making it to these ruins that will be scattered throughout the board. You got to explore to find these, getting yourself relics, and then coming back to the altar to sacrifice them to the gods. But again, some of them give you special powers, and so you are going to have to make tough choices as far as what ones you sacrifice to give to the gods. Now, that's majority of what's going to be happening in this game, but there are other things that you can do. Another action that you can do in this game is going to be to fight. Anytime you are in proximity to another player's character, you can do a fight action. Now, you can only do this once per round. It's a daily action, and how this works is you just simply look at your fight number. You're not going to make a roll on the fight. I might have mentioned earlier that you are rolling it for fight. That's incorrect. You just simply get to inflict this much damage to that player. And as I mentioned earlier, there are some relics here that are going to beef up that number, helping you to do even more damage. And that's going to lower how many hearts that player has. And if you ever lose all of your hearts, you have died, but you will be brought back to life again on your next turn. However, the person that dealt the final blow, they are going to earn a point for having taken you out. And so you want to avoid giving people free points by letting them kill you. Another thing you can do with the energy on your turn is to play action cards. Now, you will get action cards at the beginning of every round, and these action cards are going to let you do a variety of different things, such as doing extra attacks on a person, letting you cast spells, healing yourself, but also laying traps. You do have another bag here that I've not shown you, and inside this bag are a bunch of trap tokens that are going to say trap on one side, but then they're going to give you some sort of condition or adverse effect, and you'll be putting these out on spaces, and whenever a player moves into a trap, you would flip it over and show them what condition they have. So that's how the action cards are going to work, and they do cost a number of energy to play as depicted on the top of the card. Now, the last thing that you could do on your turn is to make a settlement roll. You do have to be on one of these spaces over here that has the little hut on it with the banner token on them, and each main tile here is going to have one settlement on it, and if you are on it, you can roll for your charm here, and if you're successful, again rolling lower, you will be able to claim that settlement and take the banner with it. You'll gain whatever benefit is listed here on the banner, so this would give me +1 to my wit, which wit is the number of action cards I get at the end of every round. And if at any point one player has all 4 banners, then they automatically, I can't reach that last one way over there, they automatically win the game. So that is another way you can win this game. It's not just a race to 10 points, but it's also trying to obtain all 4 of these banners at any given time. That will win you the game. And so that is the gist here with Favor Gods of Oethera. Let's go back up top and share our thoughts on this one. And we're back, and now we're going to share our thoughts on Favor Gods of Oethera from a gamer and non-gamer's perspective. And by the way, this is running on crowdfunding, so after you watch this video, make sure to check the link down below in the description of the video, and then go check out the campaign page. So Sam, we really enjoy tile laying, and this is a game that has tile laying, but it also has some other things that play with it, trying to explore and find different relics. You're going to be rolling dice. You're going to be battling a little bit. This game has a little bit for everyone, I feel like. What did you think about this particular one?
Yeah, it's definitely a different take on tile laying. Usually that's kind of the whole game.
Right.
And this time you're really, and usually most of the time when you're tiling, it's for yourself. And this time it was for everybody.
Yeah.
And part of the game board.
Yeah, exactly. This makes up the game board. It's exploration, so you don't know what the tiles are going to have for you as you kind of explore the area. You're making up the board as you go. It's modular. And you mentioned that this is something that everybody plays on top of. So there's also this element of trying to race and be the first person to find these things, at the same time battling them if you come along the way. So there's some combat in this particular game.
Sure.
What'd you think of that?
Yeah, I like that. Battling isn't my favorite thing, but it wasn't the whole game, and it wasn't a constant. It was when you had the opportunity, but also you were moving and doing things for yourself.
Yeah, it wasn't the crux of the game, the focal point at all. It was definitely something that you want to do, but you really want to do it when it's convenient for you. And it's super easy to understand. I didn't feel like it was bloated or fiddly. The rules for combat combat are very straightforward. Watch the rules portion of the video, you'll know what I mean. But like Sam said, that it was just one aspect of a multifaceted game, because really the idea here, the what I feel like is the main point of the game are trying to find these relics.
Yeah.
And the relics can provide you with lots of benefits, lots of extra boons and resources for yourself. And so you're really having to weigh out the choices of, do I want to sacrifice these things? Because they could be really nice for me. They could be some really bad ones too. And I definitely want to get rid of those.
Yeah.
But your good ones, figuring out whether you should keep it or not, I think that's where the fun in this game is. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. And I did not think that this was a game that was super complicated or difficult to figure out. What was that like for you as a non-gamer?
I mean, I think it's kind of middle of the road. I mean, it definitely took some time and some understanding. It's not one that you could just throw out and not explain. But once the gameplay started, it was fairly easy to figure it out as you went along.
Yeah, I mean, there were quite a few cards, some tokens in the game, some dice. But, I mean, for the most part, I feel like after you play a turn, you kind of get the idea of what you're doing, and it sticks pretty well. It's pretty intuitive. I think the mechanics work well with the theme, because you're needing to find these relics and you're needing to bring them back to the gods so that you can appease them and get those points, so that you can be the person who wins the game here. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
So overall, I had a good time with it. What did you think about enjoyment level with this one?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's just going to depend on what kind of gameplay you enjoy, but as far as gamer or non-gamer, I do think the level of play is appropriate for both.
Yeah, I'll 100% agree with that. I think this is the perfect kind of game for our channel, because it has enough of a gameplay experience that it's going to keep the gamer involved and enticed with the experience, but it's not so heavy that I think the non-gamer or casual gamer is just going to feel left behind and not know what's going on. So right mix of game here. The game is Favor Gods of Oethera. It's from Lynch and Wood Games, and it's running on crowdfunding, so make sure to check out the link down below in the description now that you've watched this video.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.